have here 14 fragrances I received in PR, and today I'll be giving you quick fire reviews on each of these fragrances and also telling you my thoughts on whether or not I would actually buy these fragrances if I wasn't creating content for the internet, if I wasn't doing fragrance YouTube. I really wanted to challenge myself and pick out just 5 fragrances I would buy myself. That is not because I think any of these fragrances are inherently mediocre. That's not because I think these fragrances don't deserve attention. It's simply because I wanted to be realistic. As someone who publishes content on the internet related to fragrance, I do happen to receive PR, and I have been open with the fact that if I wasn't creating content, I would not have access to get this many fragrances in, let's just say, in a month. It's a lot of fragrances, and I'm very lucky. I'm very happy that I work with these brands that send me these fragrances and that I have these affiliate partnerships with. But I also want to be very clear, honest, and open with you about where I would stand if I didn't have a platform. So yeah, I'm excited to share these fragrances with you. But if this is your first time on this channel, hello, my name is Anya. I absolutely love fragrances. I talk about them here every single weekday, Monday through Friday. I also publish additional content on TikTok and Instagram under the username ANECHKAFRAGRANCES. And if you're interested in fragrance history, I have a podcast called The Fragrance Report. This podcast goes live with a new episode every single Wednesday on YouTube and on Spotify. So if you're into history, definitely check that out. And if you're like me and you like to practice something called mindful consumerism, which is a term that I kind of made up, but if you're someone who generally wants to keep track of your expenses related to fragrance, if you want a handy way of tracking all your samples, decants, full bottles, the fragrances that you have, the notes you enjoy, well, I highly recommend you download my fragrance collection log and expense tracker. It's in the description box for you to access. Definitely check it out if you're interested in tracking your fragrance collection in a very comprehensive and easy to navigate way. Not gonna lie, it was a bit of a challenge only choosing 5 fragrances that I would actually purchase. That's not to say that these are the only 5 that I like out of this selection. To be honest, I really enjoy all these fragrances. I've been wearing them interchangeably, but the fact is, like, these are fragrances that I very generously received for free from these brands. And if I was going to buy these fragrances, it would be an absolutely different story. So I'd honestly have to limit myself. I would have to choose a smaller number of fragrances. And that's why it was a bit of a challenge preparing for this video. But I think this is a fun topic. It's a fun opportunity for me to share with you my honest thoughts about these fragrances, to share with you not only how these notes resonate with me, but also like how these fragrances compare to the other perfumes in my collection. So let's start off with this initial fragrance, which is newer to my collection. I actually have been wearing this quite often. This is Room 1015's Jasmine Freak. This is a spicy floral jasmine perfume with mango and ginger. There's really something quite compelling about this. It smells like a rich, decadent jasmine with some peppery accents. It's really quite beautiful. And the mango here is definitely an accent. It's not over either. So this is a perfume with top notes of mango, sweet orange, black currant, and black pepper, a mid of Egyptian's jasmine and gin tuberose and ylang-ylang, and then a base of musk and cashmere wood. So currently this fragrance is priced at $155, and that is consistent across the board for Room 1015. They have some really affordably priced options. So if you look at the price per milliliter, their pricing is rather excellent. So if you're looking for a good, affordable niche brand, Room 1015 is rather excellent. And if you're looking for like a floral fragrance with some like fruity accents, this is really good as well. So Room 1015's Jasmine Freak, this is a little bit newer, and I've really been enjoying this, especially as we are in this kind of like transition period in terms of weather. It's really beautiful. Oh, I also want to tell you about these Snif fragrances, and yes, I have a lot. I have 3 body mists that I received from them and 2 fragrances, and the body mists are really good. I would say they're like good affordable options if you're looking for a little bit of layering opportunities with your fragrance collection, if you want some diversity. I have Berry Styles, Extra Whip, and Hazel Split. Hazel Split smells like Nutella. Extra Whip smells like a kind of a cool aldehydic, slightly aldehydic, cool whip, you know, whipped cream. And then Berry Styles smells like blueberry syrup. All these smell really good. I would only really buy these myself if I was specifically looking for one of these scent profiles. I don't think I'd buy all three outright, but I would definitely be strategic about like which one I want. Like for example, if I didn't have a kind of like Nutella kind of fragrance, I would definitely go for Hazel Split. If I wanted something like tonic, I'd go for Extra Whip. If you're looking to add these kinds of categories of fragrance into your collection, I think these can be really useful. Where my collection is at right now, I don't think I would buy these, but I am really happy to have them, and I have been enjoying them. I would say the highlight for me when it comes to Snif recently has been their fragrance releases. So Hot Cakes is a fragrance that went viral, which you probably have already seen on social media. It's basically inspired by pancakes, and to me it smells like exactly what an IHOP kind of pancake would smell like. I absolutely love this fragrance. And then we also have the Sweet Ash Super fragrance, which is a part of their new Super fragrance line, which is essentially a higher, more premium concentration of perfume oil with some of their best sellers. I really love both of these fragrances. I especially really love Hot Cakes. And if I had to choose out of all these Snif fragrances, which one I would definitely purchase, like if I had to be like really, really discerning, I'd probably go for Hot Cakes. But unfortunately, none of these made the top 5, and that's not because I don't love these fragrances. I adore these two perfumes specifically, but the rest of this video has some amazing perfumes, and the competition was so stiff that these perfumes did not make the final top 5 cut. But keep in mind, this is a really hard video to be in. So if I had to choose out of all these Snif fragrances which ones I would buy Hot Cakes, like 100%. And I do have an active discount code with them available if you want to use it to save some money. When it came to preparing this video, I was neck to neck with these two fragrances. Like I was either going to include Hot Cakes in the top 5 or Amber Iris from Experimental Perfume Club. And this is a new fragrance that I've received recently that I don't think you guys have heard of just yet. But Amber Iris is the fragrance that essentially made the final 5 top cut. And I will say it was a close one. The only reason I decided to choose Amber Iris for the top 5 instead of Hot Cakes was because I see myself wearing Amber Iris constantly, and Hot Cakes I do enjoy, but I have to be in the mood for a really good gourmand. So if you're looking for a really good gourmand, Hot Cakes is the one for you. But if you want something more like everyday office appropriate, Amber Iris, stunning. So let's talk about Amber Iris. So this is, of course, from Experimental Perfume Club, and this has notes of myrrh, Chiara incense, Italian iris, labdanum, and ambroxan, and ambrette, as well as Indonesian patchouli leaf and natural vanilla. So my experience with this is that this is a lightly powdery, lightly spiced fragrance. It's beautifully blended. I feel like Experimental Perfume Club, they do really well with creating lightly spiced, masterfully blended scents. And this is no exception. I love how it's like a warm, spicy perfume, but there's like a cool powderiness to it coming from that iris note that is so elegant. There's some amberiness to it. You definitely smell the vanilla. It's the kind of fragrance that, like, to be honest with you, once it dries down, like I get whiffs of it and I'm like, wait, this smells really, really good. And for some reason I gravitate towards this fragrance. This is a comforting fragrance for me. It's like one of those fragrances. So I think like realistically, like I would definitely want to purchase this with my own money, just because I know I'd get a lot of like a really positive cost per wear out of this if I was buying it with my own money. I really like it a lot. It's just a warm, cozy, warm, spicy fragrance. And where I am with my fragrance taste, like this is the kind of thing that I reach for on a regular basis. So Amber Iris by Experimental Perfume Club. We have our first top 5 winner chicken dinner. Okay, let's go with another one that's also a winner chicken dinner with Anelo by Pernoire. This is one that is so good. Like I love this perfume. I've been wearing this constantly, and it's just one of those fragrances that has tropical notes, but they're done right. They're done in a way that just makes me want to wear this fragrance over and over again. And you guys know how particular I am with tropical notes like pineapple or mango, because so often, to me at least, pineapple can end up smelling like a little bit too typical, like a little bit too like either just simplistic or like masculine. But in this case, like the way they did this fragrance is so stunning. Let's get into the notes. So this perfume has notes of pineapple, pomelo, and mandarin at the top, a mid of ginger, mango, and magnolia, and then a base of amber, patchouli, and vetiver. This perfume is lightly spiced with that ginger. Yes, there's mango. Yes, there's pineapple. Those are definitely center stage. I think the magnolia adds a soft accent to it. You might kind of recognize this scent profile as being relatively similar to Room 1015's Jasmine Freak. So both of these fragrances contain ginger and mango, but they are completely different. Jasmine Freak is for those of you who want like a primarily floral fragrance with a fruity accent. Anelo is for those of you who want that fruitiness with a floral accent. So they're very different, but I think that both of these fragrances are really, really beautiful, but depending on what you want, like you should choose either one or both, but like you should choose these fragrances depending on like what your preferences are. If you prefer florals, this. If you prefer fruitiness, Anelo. That's what I would do if I was being like very practical. But Anelo is definitely the one that I've been wearing a lot, and it has a really high concentration of perfume oil as well, so a little bit of this goes a long way. So this is absolutely one that I would love to purchase myself. I absolutely love this fragrance. So two other fragrances that I absolutely positively adore, and these are relatively new to my collection, but I'm already gonna say I would 100% buy these two fragrances with my own money if I didn't already receive them in PR, because holy smokes, they are stunning. I'm talking about the two fragrances that I have here by Une Nuit Nomade. We have Estrella de la Mañana, and then we have their brand new release, Chemin d'Amande, and I'm going to be talking about both of them, but let's talk about Estrella de la Mañana first. This is actually my fragrance of the day, and I'm still working through this. I'll still be giving you updates on this fragrance as I start to wear it a little bit more, but this has key notes of birch, cocoa, benzoin, and vanilla, and essentially, this perfume is so compelling to me because when I first saw this, like when I first saw the notes listed back when it first came out last year, I was kind of writing this off. I was kind of like telling myself, I don't really need this fragrance. Like, yes, it's a chocolate fragrance. What's new with that? Like I know it'll be good, but I don't really need it in my collection. I smelled it for the first time in the Discovery set, and I was blown away. The best way I can describe this, and this is still pretty abstract, yes, you definitely get the chocolate, but it smells like a sipping chocolate, like a melted sipping chocolate, not too sweet, not very lactonic. You kind of like get the bitter cacao, but also on skin, there's something about the way this fragrance is executed, like it has like a bright sillage. Like I was wearing it today, and I'm trying to like kind of identify like what that might be. But there's a lightness to it. There's like this like sparkling lightness to it that I've never smelled in a chocolate fragrance like this. I know, super abstract, but that's my experience with this. And for that alone, like for my experience with this alone, like I feel like this is the fragrance that I would definitely want to purchase myself, like even if I wasn't doing content creation, because this is really impressive. Like this is really impressive. I was wearing this fragrance out today, and I felt like I was like, I as you know, I have a lot of fragrances that are excellent, but there are a few fragrances out there that I'm like, okay, I smell really good. I smell really good when I wear those fragrances, and this is definitely one of them. So, Estrella de la Mañana. And then I also have this new one that I fell in love with the moment I smelled it. The first time I smelled it was at Scent Explorer. This was before they had it in the bottle. They literally had the lab sample of it, and they very kindly let me smell this, and oh my goodness, I just fell in love with it. This was easily, like, I'd say one of my top 3 fragrances that I smelled at Scent Explore, and it wasn't even a fragrance I could talk about yet. Oh my gosh, this smells like, I'll tell you what it smells like. It smells like an almond croissant. Like, you know, the almond croissant with like the almond paste filling. It smells like that. That's what it smells like. It smells stunningly beautiful, so unique. Oh my gosh, like, I smell the marzipan. Like, that's what I get with this fragrance. And there's like a light, like, kind of like gourmand spiciness to it. This is beautiful. Like, so good. I love this. Like, this is a love. Like, flat out, chemin d'amande, amazing. This perfume has notes of almond, wheat absolute, pure jungle essence, and then conscious bourbon vanilla. That's beautiful. It's so beautiful. I'd say this, to my experience, I've only had both of these for a few days, but to my experience, this kind of stays like a little bit closer to the skin, but this sillage is powerful. So like, they're both amazing. I'd definitely both add them to this top 5 list. I don't know, like, genuinely, I've loved Une Nuit Nomade for such a long time, and even before like I was an affiliate with them, I was buying their fragrances and I was like raving about them. And yeah, I'd say like, out of so many of the fragrance brands that I've now had the pleasure to work with in some capacity, Une Nuit Nomade has definitely been like a pinch me moment, because as many of you know, they were the first niche brand that I ever purchased from. So yeah, this is a really full circle moment having this relationship with them, and I do have discount codes available for Une Nuit Nomade, which are down below as well, and I'll put them on the screen. But both of these fragrances, show-stopping, so good. So this next one is really interesting and unique. It's called Iris Coffee by Sherigan, and I recently received this. I do really enjoy it. I specifically think that the spotlight here actually really goes to the cardamom. To me, like, there's like a cardamom pod smell with this, and yes, it's accented with the coffee, but I definitely get like a realistic cardamom smell, like a fresh green cardamom. That's what I get with this perfume, and this has been around for quite some time, but this has basically notes of coffee, iris, cardamom, orris root, tonka bean, white musk, bergamot, and jasmine. My thing with this is I think you have to be in the proper mood to wear it, because it's a very green kind of smelling cardamom fragrance. So whether or not you're comfortable with that kind of scent accord will determine how you feel about this particular perfume. But I like this a lot. But I don't know if I'd buy this with my own money compared to the other fragrances in this video. But I will say that this is a brand that I want to have my eye on, because I would say their affordability is pretty good. Their fragrances, full price, are around $190, which is pretty good in my opinion, especially for how much you get. And I would say the brand seems to have a lot of history. So keep your eyes peeled for more content from this brand, or about this brand from me, because I definitely want to explore more of what they have to offer. And I do have their discovery set, so I will be updating you on that as well. But yeah, it's a really compelling fragrance, but this, as I said before, is a really tough video to be in because the competition is stiff. The next perfume is easily going to be one of my top fragrances for this year. This is a truly exceptional fragrance. It's been around for a few years, but I think it hasn't necessarily received as much attention as I think it deserves, and that's why I want to talk about it here. And this would absolutely be in that top 5. This is from the different company, and it's called Unui Magnetic. I smell this fragrance, and every single time I smell it, like, my brain just like sparks up. I have like this reaction, and I think that a lot of you might know what I'm talking about. Like, when you love a fragrance, your brain just does like a you know, like, your brain knows like what fragrances you're like love, you know. And this is just one of those perfumes for me. So this fragrance has notes of blueberry, ginger, and bergamot at the top, amid of prune, jasmine from Egypt, and tuberose, as well as rose from Turkish rose. Sorry, I'm like reading the Fragrantica website in French, and I'm trying to translate it to English. But then you have benzoin, patchouli, amber, woody notes, and musk in the base. So This perfume just smells like a blueberry jam. So I want to compare it to Berry Styles from Snif. These are two completely different fragrances, and they both kind of have like a berry accord to them. Berry Styles smells like, you know, blueberry syrup, and this smells like blueberry jam. So it's like more of a spotlight on the actual blueberry fruit with like the, you know, the full-bodied fruitiness of the prune or the plum. This is stunning. This is really, really good. Let me check the price on this. Okay, so the price is $250. So I would say it's one of the higher end fragrances in this particular video, but I would say with a fragrance like this, it's worth it. Like, I would still pay that money for this fragrance because this is what niche perfumery is meant to smell like flat out. Like, I would say there are some fragrances that are affordable that smell amazing, and for me at the same time, like if I am looking at a fragrance that's like super expensive, like not super expensive, but you know what I mean, if I look at a fragrance that's like a few $100s leaning close to 300, I want it to be truly exceptional, and this is that, absolutely. As well as like the Une Nuit Nomade extrait line, which as we all know is also closer to 300. I also think that it's exceptionally good. So I'd say the price is worth it in my personal opinion. I know I just received these fragrances for free, but again, this video is supposed to be like a discerning, honest look at would I actually buy these fragrances if I didn't receive them for free. And in this particular case, when it comes to these top fives, I would, and this just so happens to be in that top five. I also do want to talk about Neydo's Alien Fruit. This is a really, really beautiful fragrance. I very much enjoy this perfume, especially if you're looking for something beautiful for the summertime. Like, this is photorealistic guava, red fruits, pomegranate. This perfume came out in 2024, and it has notes of yuzu, red currant, pomegranate, guava, red fruits, cyclamen, and then musk and white amber. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you're looking for a beautiful guava-centric perfume, this is pretty much a no-brainer because it just smells like guava with those other notes, of course. But guava is really the star of the show here. So if you're looking for a guava fragrance for the summertime that's also pretty affordable, I would say Neydo is just under $100. This is really good. I really like this a lot. Yeah. I would say like this fragrance is actually really hard to not mention in the top five. So many of these fragrances were hard not to mention in the top five. But yeah, I had to mention some other ones instead. But this is still a favorite. This is still a favorite. When I start doing more like summer fragrance videos, you will definitely see this in those videos because this is really good. And I think it's ideal for the summertime when you really want something delicious, zesty, fruity, with a little bit of citrus. This is ideal. So let's do a quick recap and talk about the top five fragrances, just aggregate all these fragrances together. So of course, we have this one. Unui Magnetic, must have, so good. I actually do receive compliments on that. Not that it's supposed to be a deciding factor in this video, but that one is definitely a standout in my collection currently. And then I have these two fragrances by Une Nuit Nomade, Chemin d'Amande and Estrella de la Mañana, both top tier, amazing perfumes. Then I have this fragrance called Amber Iris by Experimental Perfume Club. Stunning, beautiful, must have. And then last but certainly not least, I have Anelo by Pernoire. Amazing, beautiful fragrances. I am super happy with this selection, but as I already mentioned before, I really, really like all these fragrances and I do recommend them, but I think all our preferences are very different. So while I do try to be like very analytical in my reviews and provide you with the information that I think would be helpful, where my tastes are at, where my preferences are at right now, these are the five that I would purchase myself in a heartbeat, although I probably would put it on a wish list first. These are the fragrances that I would definitely want to buy with my own money if I had to choose only five from this video. So that's pretty much it. Let me know, would you like me to do some more videos like this in the future? Obviously, I receive like a little bit of PR from brands and I feel very lucky to have the opportunity to receive PR. And I like how with the brands that I currently work with right now, They're very nice in the sense that they let me choose what fragrances I want to try. And because of that, whenever I do receive PR, it's actually something I do want to talk about. I mean, obviously, I'm not obligated to talk about these fragrances, but when I do receive PR from brands, I tend to like this enough to actually talk about it and actually share it. And I feel very lucky in that aspect. But of course, I think these 14 fragrances, buying them with my own money, would not be realistic, and I think it's important to acknowledge that, but I also want to still provide you with the necessary information to make your own purchasing decision. So anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching till the end. Let me know if you want to see another video like this in the future, and I'll see you next time. Bye.